She was carrying some hideous, disturbing yellow flowers. The devil only knows what they're called, but for some reason they're the first ones to bloom in Moscow, and those flowers stood out very distinctly against her black spring coat. She was carrying yellow flowers, a bad color. She turned off Tverskaya into a side street and then looked back. Do you know Tverskaya? Thousands of people were walking along Tverskaya, but I assure you, she saw only me, and she gave me a look that was not merely anxious, but even pained. And I was struck not so much by her beauty as by the extraordinary, incomparable loneliness in her eyes. Obeying that yellow sign, I too turned into the side street and followed her. We walked silently along the dull, winding lane, I on one side and she on the other. And imagine, there wasn't a soul in the street. I was in torment because I felt that I had to talk to her, and I was afraid I wouldn't be able to utter a word, and she would go away, and I would never see her again. And then, imagine, she said unexpectedly, "Do you like my flowers?" I distinctly remembered the sound of her voice, rather low, but halting, and however silly this may seem, I felt that an echo sounded in the lane and reverberated off the dirty yellow wall. I quickly crossed over to her side of the street, and, walking up to her, replied, "No." She looked at me with surprise, and I suddenly and completely unexpectedly realized that this was the woman I had loved my whole life. Amazing, isn't it? Naturally, you'll say I'm a madman, right? "I'm not saying anything," Ivan exclaimed, adding, "Please, go on." And the guest continued. "Yes." She gave me a look of surprise, and then she asked, "Is it that you just don't like flowers?" I thought I detected hostility in her voice. I walked alongside her, trying to keep in step with her, and to my surprise I felt no constraint whatsoever. "No, I like flowers, but not those," I said. "What kind do you like?" "I like roses." Then I regretted having said that, because she smiled guiltily and threw her flowers into the gutter. A bit flustered, I retrieved them none the less, and handed them back to her, but she pushed them away with a smile, and I ended up carrying them. Thus we walked in silence for a while until she took the flowers out of my hand and threw them on the pavement. Then she put her hand in a flared black glove through my arm, and we walked off together.